three. Oh, well, look at this. Look at
This
this.
is a test of the emergency Topia system.
No, I've hit record.
Please stand by.
As soon as I hit record, look what happened.
¡Bulla!
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
¡Bulla!
¡Buya! Oh, yeah, buya, correcto for
¡Feliz
español.
cumpleaños!
Lo siento, no hablo español.
Feliz
¡Feliz,
cumpleaños.
¿Qué?
feliz cumpleaños a ti!
Sati.
¡Feliz cumpleaños!
Oh,
Oh, wait.
¡Feliz cumpleaños!
muchas gracias.
¡Feliz cumpleaños a ti!
Well,
Hip hip.
it's next Saturday. We'll take it. It's a week early, but take that.
Well, I normally do my birthday a week before and after the day itself, so this is perfect.
¡Yeah!
Oh, muchísimo gracias.
Sí, de nada.
Uh,
Besos. Chao.
Mwah!
Ah.
Ciao.
Do you have the key for the car?
Yeah. Or just the Mustang.
No, no, no.
I'll get the door. Thank you. Like, I
Where
hit
were we?
record, and then she walked in. Did you even do your intro? I don't think you did your intro even.
Well, let's try again. This is a test of the emergency Topia system. Please stand by.
That's it. I like it. You did
Thank
do
you.
it. I like it. Yeah.
It's actually going back to an old 90s dance track, Wild FM mix #1, where it starts off with this is a test of the emergency broadcasting system. Please stand by.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, Wild FM, that was huge, that radio station, wasn't it?
Oh, and I've still got the CDs,
Yeah. Yep.
like actual hard copies.
What
Um,
on the dial was Wild FM? Do you remember? On the
I have no idea. I only knew it as the actual dance CDs.
okay. Yeah, no, I think I can remember them being a radio station, Wild FM in Sydney.
Would not surprise me.
And what I remember is they were promoting we need signatures, we need signatures, and old mate Richard went around got hundreds of signatures, or
Fuck.
and then he turned up at the radio station, and I remember when there's people everywhere. I don't know this. He told me the story, and he said I got signatures, and they were like, "Yay!" So, was that Wild FM? I can't remember, but it was
Not sure.
interesting to boring story regardless. Welcome to Topia. Let's get right on.
Welcome, one and all.
Yes.
We are back.
Yes. Last week I got sick. Like, I think you were unwell, and
Yeah,
then
we were a bit up and down.
but we're here. We're here to talk
We are
film,
here.
TV, and all things pop culture, culture. And let's kick it off, Lee,
Mate.
with the new series. Well, series 2 is new, and it's called Last King of the Cross.
Mate. You'd been putting me onto this for a while, and I hadn't been getting round to it.
Yep.
And I remember the first time you sent me this little short video.
Yep.
And I think it was the main guy running through the cross, and he was running into
Pinocchios. Yep.
Which, if there's any viewers out there that are of the elder persuasion, was one of the best Italian restaurants ever, and definitely the best in the cross.
Yes, I don't think I can remember it, but I think you hit the nail on the head. Who this show appeals to? It appeals to Sydney-siders or people that grew up going to King's Cross, drinking at King's Cross, working at King's Cross, partying at King's Cross. It really was the most dodgy area in the whole of Australia, not by a little bit, by
Oh,
by
and
by
especially when we were of an age to go there,
exactly.
it was it the shine had rubbed off
Yes.
what shine there was.
Yep.
And in the 90s, especially
What
the mid
was
to late 90s.
what was your first memory or memories of King's Cross, like even as a little kid?
It's funny you say that. Here's something I prepared earlier, but no, I don't even need that. My main experiences at the cross were as a quite a young child,
Yep.
from around between about 7 and 10.
Yep.
And there were two restaurants that I remember very well.
Mm.
There was Pinocchio's, and there was round the corner as you were like heading to Woolloomooloo, opposite the those fountain
Oh, yep.
things.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
opposite that, there was
Yep.
one
Yep.
called
The cross
Neptune's.
fountains. Neptune's.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Neptune's, and it was a seafood restaurant.
Ah.
And I have very fond memories of both.
Yep.
More Pinocchios than Neptunes. I remember once, again, somewhere between 7 and 10, eating 2.5 dozen fried oysters at Pinocchio's.
Then
And
2.5 dozen fried oysters.
yep, and it was the first oysters that I ever enjoyed. Uh, Growing up, not only on the North Shore but the northern beaches,
Yep.
oysters and seafood restaurants were everywhere.
Yep.
And I remember trying my first natural oyster, and it literally did not go down well.
Yeah.
But Dad put me on to these fried oysters that Pinocchio's did. Oh, so well.
Yep.
And that was brilliant. The other main memory I have is leaving Pinocchio's with Dad and his girlfriend at the time. And of course, where we were parked, we had to go past the strip clubs. And
Yep.
there's the hawkers out there. He's like, come on in, everyone. Come on, yeah, bring this, bring that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's my old man. He's like, oh, come on in, man. You got your girlfriend, that's fine. Yeah, bring her in too. And my dad's like, I've got my son with me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
without a pause, the guy's like, bring him in too. You'll have a great time. Come on in, all three of you. Just come in.
And you remember that. You remember that.
I remember it distinctly. There's less than a handful of times I've ever seen my old man lost for words.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When the guy switched to say bring me in too, that was one of them.
Yep.
And oh yeah. The cross.
That was
In the what was that? That would have been about mid 80s,
yeah.
mid to late 80s. Where anything went.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I was going to say a couple of my first memories of the cross. I guess it's good to start here to review this series, just to show how important the cross is for our lives. And if it wasn't, we probably this show wouldn't have hit home. I think, well, it wouldn't have hit home as much. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember, my mum and dad up front driving, and three of us little kids, and Dad, for some reason, if we were ever in the city or something, and he'd say to us, do you want to drive through the cross? And would be like, yeah, and would lock the doors. I remember locking the doors and would just
it's like in National Lampoon's Vacation. Roll them up.
And we were just like mesmerized and scared, but excited.
It was a show.
Look, just driving through. That's what I remember. And I do remember once we were a bit further up, like Darlinghurst, but definitely close to King's Cross, right? Maybe not the strip behind it. I was with Dad, and he was in his Porsche, and his Porsche 911 broke down.
I remember it very well. Would you call it more of a dark, like a deep yellow, or more of a mustard color?
There were so many, honestly. I don't know which one this was. There was that many Porsche. What's the plural of Porsche? Porsches. There was that many Porsches.
You know what? Let's sound really really nice. Let's say the plural of Porsche is Porsche.
Porsche. Yeah, I think it is.
Wouldn't
And
surprise me.
we broke down, and instead of calling NRMA, he found a bottle and the radiator overhead,
Ah,
and we found some tap, and we're filling up this tap, and I tell you where it was. It was right near the Hard Rock Cafe. Do you remember where that was?
ah, on George Street?
No, it wasn't on George Street. It was kind of like Crown Road or something. It was
Ah, right.
no, maybe not Crown Road, maybe a bit further up towards the cross, but the same direction as the Golden Mile.
Yeah.
Um, and so we broke down right near there. And I remember looking at the graffiti, and I still remember it to this day. This guy had drawn, or this guy, or maybe a girl graffitied, a worm, and Boris the bookworm, and wrote Boris the bookworm was here, and also who stole my bike, and who remembers graffiti in the cross 40 years ago? But
Awesome people do.
you do. And then let's move on. Okay, they're the earliest memories. And what about going to the cross? Because I remember hearing that, working at Coles Manly Vale, I was 16, and the cross, you could.
It was a legend.
Yeah, you could go and get into the cross and drink. 100. There was other places in the city, the old Windsor and other pubs where you could get in clearly underage and drink, but the cross, it didn't matter. And that's where we went at 16, 17 years old. And we
Yeah.
went there, and we went to the strip clubs at 16, 17 years old, because we
It was
got
like the Wild West.
yeah, you just got it. And I used to
The-
wear this leather jacket, black leather jacket that had shoulder pads. Okay. So it made my
Jesus.
shoulder pads look quite big, and I thought that made me look 18. And yep, and so
Yeah.
that's what happened. 16, 17 used to go and get drunk at the strip clubs in King's Cross and
Damn.
love it.
I wish I was there with you with that, man.
Oh, and
'Cause
I will stop talking. But one night,
what's this podcast for then?
yeah, there was me and Rich and Ozzy and Cameron and Adam
Did they
Hurt.
sign waivers to allow their names to be used in this story?
Yeah, and Shane King. Anyway, and we went into Porky's, right? And I remember
Oh, fuck.
Porky's.
Porkies.
We went
Oh,
into
my God.
16, 17, and I remember there was cops there going in or going out, and I had to walk past them, but they got Adam and they got Shane, and they took them to King's Cross police station and called their mums and dads and said, "Come pick them up now." And for some reason, I walked straight past this copper with confidence because I had the leather jacket on with the shoulder pads.
With the shoulder pads.
With the shoulder
Because it
pads.
comes down to that confidence, that cocky walk, that walk like you are meant to be there.
Yep.
No one's going to question that.
Yep.
And it's funny you mentioned the King's Cross Cop Shop, because I actually did have an experience in the King's Cross Cop Shop.
Tell us.
As a quick one before that.
Tell us, and then let's get on to this review. Tell us.
So I repeated year 12 at Scott's.
Yep.
And being 18, had a car there.
Yep.
And I was in Fairfax House. Of course, all names are unrelated to real life. So it was Fairfax House.
Yep.
And three of the guys from the house were out legitimately because they were heading to, I think it was either Chili Peppers or Smashing Pumpkins concert. But I'm there, and the actual house captain, and he's like, let's head up to O'Malley's bar up at the Cross.
Yep.
And we get up there, and he and I, we're on what they call window leave, unofficial leave, and we've had a few drinks, and it's like, you know what, let's head back. We've had our fun, let's head back. As we're walking out, the three guys on official leave walk through the front door. We're like, yeah, let's talk and have a few more. So someone had the bright idea. Now, O'Malley's had these wooden bar stools that were heavy as all hell. I don't know what they were made out of, how much of it was metal. The nice big cushion was certainly made with the husky gentleman in mind.
Made to live.
Someone had the bright idea.
Made for life. Made for life.
Yeah, the Rubenesque bar patron. And one of them had the bright idea, let's steal the bar stools.
One or a few of them? 3.
5 of us took 3 out, and we run over the top and then down the other side. My car was parked on the other side, and they must have called right away. We were probably not subtle at all, so they probably already called the cops before we left. So we get over the other side.
Would they fit in your car?
Oh, it was an 82 Fairlane. That boot would have held, that and more. And we didn't even get that far. Before we'd even crossed the road to the car, the paddy wagon turned up. And, and
you're
comes in.
With this stool, with this bar stool.
3 of them.
Drunk, outside the cross with a bar stool.
Yeah. And you know what? We might leave that there because it is a good story, but I don't want to take away from the rest of the Topia.
Yeah.
Tune in next week for the rest of the story. But yeah, it's the cross. I mean, my dad, his first job, he graduated Scots in 68. His first job was dancing at the club for the biggest gangster Sydney had in the cross.
Yep.
So, like you said, we've all got these strong connections to the cross.
It was just dodgy. It was where all the crims went. It was where all the drugs. It was where all the parties went. It was where you went when things closed. It's the Bucks parties, the Hens night. It was everything went there. It wasn't just the strip clubs. It wasn't just the druggos. It wasn't just the bikies and bikies and bikies. It was just
everywhere.
Everybody went to the cross.
And the thing is, what is it? It's about 150 meters.
Yep.
The length of the cross.
The strip. Yep.
It's so short, but yet it had this legend to it that this is the place and the worst place in Sydney. It's where you went to get what you wanted, and it's where you went with you put your wallet in your underpants and hope for the best.
Yep. And it just went all night, Sunday night. I remember being there with Aussie and Adam Herb. We went there late on a Sunday night, and I was actually sober. That's why I remember it. But just smashing it.
There's your problem.
Early hours on a Sunday night. Where could you do that now? Nowhere.
No, nowhere.
Absolutely nowhere. And okay, so King of the Cross, it meant so much to us because we have spent so much time in that dodgy suburb. Yes.
Suburbs giving it all the best of it.
How did you hear? I kind of am asking you this question, knowing how I got into it. How did you hear of this whole John Abraham and King of the Cross? How did it make its way into your road? Yeah,
well, it came from you. I think I'd seen it. There's what is it? It's on. We have it on. Whatever streamer it is. I think I'd seen it somewhere there, and it's like, King's Cross, whatever. But it wasn't until you mentioned it when you'd actually watched a bit.
Okay, I guess what I mean is, remember the episodes Underbelly? Or not episodes.
I haven't watched them yet.
The show Underbelly.
Aware of it. I used to sell the books when I worked in bookshops when they still existed.
Wow. Okay, well,
but actually haven't watched those yet.
I was obsessed with them, and this is pre-streaming. These shows were on television, and one came out every week for like 5 weeks, and they had a show. They had one, The Golden Mile, Underbelly, The Golden Mile, and on it was, showed this, it showed all the gangsters of the cross. I won't get into them, but it did show one episode where it showed this John Abraham guy, and him making it, and and ripping off this or doing this, and then starting up this club. So I'd heard of him and his family, and probably, I'm sure I'd given him money along the way through, indirectly buying all that booze and shenanigans going on there. My point is, right, Lee, that's how I kind of found out about this. And then I remember seeing a book. It was actually a book called Last King of the Cross.
Oh, really?
And I'm not like you, where I buy lots of books and read lots of books. I'm not. I was at the airport. Remember why, Sydney Airport. I saw it and bought it. And it's one of the few, I got to admit, there's few books that I have read. And I do remember Anthony Avati, my mate who's kicked the bucket, R.I.P. Anthony. I brought, and I gave it to him or showed him, and he got upset because I brought it to him. I don't know why, but there you go. Why am I telling you this? But I read this book. I love this book. And also, when I saw they're making a movie out of this book, I was just tickled.
Yeah.
I just thought, this is the next thing. And it is the follow-on kind of from Underbelly, because Underbelly, they made modern ones.
It was more general. Each book focused on a certain thing.
Yep. And it was great. And they've made a second season, and they're going to make another season, and they're just going to.
Oh, yeah. And they left this on a hell of a cliffhanger.
And I was really happy they did. I was really happy that there's more to come, And,
it's as far as Australian television goes, we've gone through all of our, Sons and Daughters, Country Practice, Blue Heelers. There was a couple of other country ones there, and they're all interchangeable. They're all the same sort of stuff. That very mild Aussie, and for Aussie shows, it's like, well, where's the swearing? Of course, we couldn't have it on television back then, but it was like, where's the Aussie? Because when you look at Aussie movies, there was always a way you knew it was an Aussie movie when there was that warning at the start of it, and this involves alcohol, drug use, nudity, sex scenes, violence. So it's an Aussie flick.
And explicit language.
Yes. If you saw those, you knew it was an Aussie movie.
Yep.
And but this is, what I've come to really appreciate. And I have to say, I think we're thankful for the streamers for this, because you wouldn't catch it on anything free to air.
Yep.
It really does an Aussie show the way Aussie shows should be done.
Yeah.
There's no holding back of the language, of the violence, the nudity, but none of it feels gratuitous.
Yeah.
It's all legitimate. It's like, how often have you seen a TV show when two people have just had sex and they're sort of rolling off, and the woman's still got a bra on, she's got the sheet pulled up is that the way you remember?
No. I don't
remember sex like that. I keep my bra on when I'm having sex. Come on.
And I just think of, in King of the Cross, how you saw that guy, do that line off the back of that, and then rubs the coke on it.
I've never done that before.
You know what I mean? It's just like there's two of them there. Well, anyway, you just got to watch this. It's fantastic. It is fantastic.
Yeah, and it's being on the streamer. It adds that to the realism.
Yeah,
and it's funny,
the cops were good too. Sorry if I interrupted you, but I think the cops did a good job. The cops were good, and like a good Aussie cop show. Like it reminded me of Blue Murder and Roger Rogerson. It's all this like there's actually not dodgy cops in this.
Yeah.
There isn't.
And you'll look at the actors in it as well.
Yep.
I mean, Price, we've got the actor from the UK that played the Abomination in the
Yep.
Hulk. I can't remember his name now.
Yeah. Yep. That was
He was playing the guy that ran the cross.
yeah.
And you've got Matt Nable.
Yep.
That was that guy's 2 I See It. Now that's a guy. He was in the third Riddick movie.
Oh yeah.
He was in Arrow playing Ra's al Ghul, for God's sake.
Yep.
Top-notch actor.
Yep.
There's others in there. The guy that was playing the main corrupt cop.
Yep.
He's got that big scar going down his jaw.
Oh, yep.
That guy was in Batman Begins.
Yeah. Oh,
We're seeing some good Aussie actors that have had this out there, and they're coming back for a show that. What else can say quality to a show when you've got Aussie actors coming back for that?
And what I also liked about King of the Cross as well, like how it moved from King's Cross to Oxford Street.
Man, yeah.
Like, can we just talk about that a bit?
Please.
Was that street part of your life? The clubs and I mean, I didn't hit it as hard as many people did, but I tell you, for Sydney siders, Oxford Street, it actually did happen. The cross died.
Oh, yeah.
And suddenly everybody was going to Oxford Street, and the queues and the music and like it was a decade later, but we haven't seen that on TV before. Like this is the first time I actually saw it, and it had the Mardi Gras and this and that, but it was like a bloody Mardi Gras party every night.
Yeah, you look at I'm very familiar with Taylor Square.
Yep.
Sort of Bondi Junction's one end of Oxford Street, Taylor Square is the other end.
Yes.
And I used to go to a Thai restaurant there called Silver Spoon with the old man all the time.
Yep.
I've got very good memories of when I first started going out of Kinsella's.
Yes,
just across the road.
Yep.
In there in the middle of Taylor Square.
Yeah, I know Kinsella's.
There was
that was another
movie theater
where we used to go at age 16 and we could get in for some reason. I don't know why, but it was also the coolest place to go to, and it still exists now.
Yeah, there was the Banana Bar.
Yep, and remember, it was it was a bit famous, or because it was a funeral house or something. Is that right? Does that ring?
That I'm not quite sure of.
Yeah.
But Kinsella is very familiar with.
There's all the down there, and they changed. They chopped and changed quite quickly. Like which was the coolest and which was the best and which had the cues, but it really just I guess my point is that suddenly Oxford Street was really popular, and then years later it moved back to the Cross, and it wasn't like it was the Strip. They had all the
Porky's was still there,
and Stripperama and Showgirls and all of those, which we all loved and went to. But then it had all those big nightclubs back in the Cross. Remember, like World Bar and the one right next to World Bar and across the road. It was that became the big thing.
But like those two corners, the one underneath the Coke sign and the one on the other side. They were
and we haven't even got to that in the show yet. Do you know what I mean?
No.
We've had the Cross and then we've had Oxford Street, and we're moving back to the Cross, which is what people did. Oh my goodness, only 10 minutes to go. 10 minutes to go. It really
we need to start making these longer.
Yeah, true. It really was just a chance for you and I to remember stuff, to see these.
It was nostalgia alley.
To see these corner shops, these weird milk bars, this cafe. There was a cafe in the Cross. I don't know what it's called, but it seemed to like stick out as one of the only cafes. And at nighttime when you used to go there, it didn't matter what time, it was packed. It was packed. People drinking their coffees, 2 a.m, 3 a.m, 4 a.m, 5 a.m, all the way packed. What was its name? I can't remember, but
neither can I.
So good, so good,
Yeah.
so good, Lee, so good, so good.
Oh,
King,
nostalgic-asm.
it really is. It really is.
Yeah. And you can almost still smell the place.
Yeah, yeah. And
And
I
oh,
still kind of go there. You know that? Because I've got a business, or I've got business in King's Cross. I'm saying that with no smirk. You know what I mean? Without giving, and do you remember now when you go to, you're like, well, here we are. We're just talking about King's Cross. We're hardly talking about this show. But do you remember where all the bikies used to park all their bikes? And
yeah.
huge area where you could park off the street, and
Yeah.
must have been any given night 40, 50 motorbikes there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you look at it and there's one or two Deliveroo, bikes there, and even at night
So
time,
that's the colors they're wearing now. You got your Deliveroo badge and
the high vis, and some guy on his phone wanting to deliver a
I
kebab.
hear that's one of the hardest clubs to get into, and
Yeah.
there's no leaving that club.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's no transfers to a different club out of that one.
But it really isn't what it used to be, and it never
No.
will be again.
No, it's one of those things, and I think it's uh, probably for the best.
Yeah.
It had its time, and the legends will always persist. I mean, some of the gangsters there, back towards the 60s and 70s, they found people's body parts chopped up in garbage bins in the cross.
Yeah.
And there's legends of some of those, big, like blocks of flats and apartments and everything, where they're saying, oh, the amount of bodies buried in the foundation of those we'll never know.
Yeah.
And the thing I found so interesting with the cross is you go 2 blocks, pretty much any direction from the main strip.
Yeah.
Everything's different.
It's
It
now
was such
so
a
fancy. Well, even the strip now is
back
so.
then, like even then, it was just in this one area. You go a couple of blocks in a different direction, no bikies, no this, no that.
Yeah. Well. Now, and even 15 years ago, I remember going there with Mum, and I'd bought this little apartment there, and would be downstairs from it, and would be having a cup of tea, and Mum would, oh, I love this area, I love it, and it just would be dressed up women in activewear and their little dogs, and you could just. It was just fancy. It's just so
walking
fancy.
along, just with their dog on the leash, just yeah.
And that was ages ago. Imagine now, like it. I think there's still the junkies there. There's still a bit of riffraff.
Not quite like what it was. I had a birthday thing there about was it about a year or two pre-COVID.
Yep.
There's a great bar there that does some amazing cocktails, and it's about a block or two off the main drag of Oxford Street.
When was this? 2018, was it?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Okay, it was a while ago. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And it's sort of more the Surrey hillside of the blocks there.
Yeah.
And very different. But still there's shops along that stretch there that were quite obvious about what they were. Sex shops.
Yeah.
Fetish clothing shops.
Yeah.
Next to a cafe.
Yeah.
So the heart's still there.
Yeah.
It's just it's looking a little different.
Yeah. All right. Well, King of the Cross. We got 5 minutes, Lee. Shall we say what else we're watching, or shall we just keep rambling on about King of the Cross?
Well, like I say, I'll cut this down to like a minute. Silo season 2.
Yep.
Get into it.
First
2 episodes have dropped.
Have you?
I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
I'm still debating on whether or not to smash through those 2 and then wait for the rest, or just leave it until the rest drop in. Just recently watched.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. See, I don't get to smash a full episode like you.
Yeah.
beautiful season. So I can get through, maybe 3 or 4 episodes a week if I'm lucky, So that's the answer. I reckon if you can do a back-to-back and watch them all, there's nothing better than that. And Philo, what a great show. That was
yeah.
awesome.
And everyone remember, it's a book too. Where are we?
Yeah, wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know the book.
So yeah, it's a book too. Haven't read it yet, but obviously I think there's more than just one season in there.
Yeah.
So part of me thinks that I will just have to smash those two because how they left the last episode.
It's a hard not to, isn't it? But as soon as you watch them, you're like, oh, why did you do that? Now I've got to wait, 3 days to watch the next one. Do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. So what else? What else you watching? Yeah. So you're watching
just watched Cross, based on the character Alex Cross by I think the author's Michael Connolly.
Oh yeah.
It's a crime series. That was awesome.
Yep.
Let's see. Now that a certain friend told me, Anzac, that the Penguin's finished, so I'm going to smash my way through those.
What are you more excited about, the Penguin or Silo?
It's
because the Penguin's
different flavors, different flavors.
Yep. Different worlds.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's I've tried to go spoiler free on the Penguin, which hasn't been easy.
I know.
There's been a few things that have creeped in, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah. But everything has been positive,
Oh yeah. I mean, Christ, even just the physical makeup on the guy is just
the fat suit.
Oh, the face and everything. I mean, my God. It's amazing.
I'm really pumped for that one. Really pumped.
Awesome, man.
Well, I told you you've just finished it, and I'm still going on Agatha. All along. Agatha all along. Is that it?
Spot on.
And it's been great. I think I'm up to the 4th season or so. Sorry, 4th episode. And I really liked it how the start, you were watching a detective show. And you're like, oh my God, this is great. It reminds you.
When are they going to finish that show?
And it reminds you kind of watching stuff like that, when, it twists and suddenly it's not. But you're watching a detective show and you're thinking, I really like detective shows,
Yeah.
Like Jack Reacher. Do you know what I mean? That's
dude.
When's that coming back? Jack Reacher.
Oh, tell me about it. That scene when he's behind that woman at the ATM and he realized she's been carjacked.
Yeah.
There's actually a whole thing on YouTube of people reacting just to that scene.
Yeah.
And it is brilliant. But I'm looking forward to that one coming back.
Less than a minute. So we have talked 90% about King's Cross, 5% about Last King of the Cross, and then maybe 1% about other stuff. But King's Cross, you are a King of the Cross, Lee. I am.
You are, sir.
We are Kings of the Cross. Oh, we did it.
We did it, man.
What do you want now?